Hello everyone, my name is Dane Andres, and the brand I chose to study is that of the Cheesecake Factory. The Cheesecake Factory website is undoubtedly visually driven. You are welcome with a background of their most desirable plates and desserts. The images stay on screen long enough, but scroll between high-resolution photos of their entrees and the restaurant itself. The imagery entices, captivates, and informs you on what to expect with the Cheesecake Factory. Elegant and adventurous dining for the whole family. Immediately, the page opens with their current promotion of $0 delivery, saying that you can enjoy their food no matter the location, which gives you a sense of accessibility, especially for a seemingly high-end restaurant. The scrolling welcome page also boasts that it has over 250 dishes made from scratch daily, wanting you to know that the company is proud of their elaborate and extensive menu with detail to freshness and quality. Their signature cheesecake desserts, after what the company is named for, is displayed on the next image, making you want to crave them even more. As the scrolling images come to an end, the restaurant exterior is projected on a computer, urging its audience to find their nearest location and visit one of their local cheesecake factories. Finally, you are reminded of their decadent desserts and suggesting you share them with a friend as a deliverable gift, speaking again to their accessibility through distribution. The Cheesecake Factory's color palette is just as extensive as their list of menu items. They primarily use 4 key colors, but their assets have shown to use more than 10. Some of those colors are a variation of shades and hues from their key palette. For their website, 4 of those colors are consistently used to help you navigate through the pages. The branding team or officer were smart to keep the palette simple, not to compete with the vibrant food imagery, which is the focus and highlight of their website. The header consists of the company's logo, which also serves as the home button, together with the site's directory and more section that expands into other directories. The color used was a light shade of brown or taupe, enough to show contrast with the food backdrop. The footer is sectioned in a color block of warm mauve. This contains links to the Cheesecake Factory's social and business platforms. Both header and footer stay consistent on all pages for easy navigation and continuity. Menus appear in the center of the page, neatly sectioned and organized. The courses all feature an image of the plate in the background. The search bar is integrated into the menu, again for easy navigation, which seems to be the main emphasis of the site. Overall, the company as a site promotes an attainable extravagance through its directness and simplicity. Although the logo implies it is the Cheesecake Factory, it is much more than that, highlighting its over 250 drinks, dishes, and desserts. This can be overwhelming, especially for a newcomer or if this information was displayed in its entirety. The tone of voice and the display want to ease you into their dining experience without creating any anxiety, thus the simplistic design of the presentation and navigation of the site. There is an evident eclectic nature when it comes to the company's brand that is not only represented in their menu, but also their design. You can see this in their color scheme and motifs, which I will go through further in this presentation. Although diverse, there is a rustic elegance tying everything together, which seems to be the core of their creative brand. Upon further research, after initially visiting the site, I've come to find out that Cheesecake founder David Overtone confirmed what I initially gathered, that Cheesecake Factory wanted to appeal to the palate of the common man, and an affordable luxury. The Cheesecake Factory location I visited was part of the Millennium Mall located in Orlando, Florida. The restaurant occupied a large section easily accessible through the shopping center and the parking lots. From the parking area, the signage and logo is largely displayed in red against the building's facade. I thought the choice of red was interesting because this wasn't part of their key palette, but I also thought this was effective in commanding attention because this is the nature of the color. You have the logo presented twice, vertically and horizontally, with the vertical logo elaborated with the words restaurant, bakery, bar. Initially, I thought this was redundant, but on second thought, I thought it was necessary to inform, because Cheesecake Factory can be literal to new customers. The brand wants you to know it just doesn't serve cheesecake. The location of the signage also has purpose. I felt the horizontal logo not only labeled the building, but is part of the design scheme of the restaurant itself. while the vertical logo was part of the design scheme for the mall in its entirety. The text, "The Cheesecake Factory," can also be seen on the roof of the patio section. Again, I first thought it was redundant, but then I realized that this directed you to the outdoor entrance, as well as bring attention to the fact that the restaurant has outdoor seating. As for the mall entrance, the signage was not only splashed along the wall but also had a new gold treatment, further emphasized with lights like an art display. This also led you to the entrance to its right because of its horizontal direction. Next to the door was a gold-encased poster-sized menu featuring an extensive list of their dishes and desserts. This was further framed by the mosaic tiled wall. All glass doors were adorned with an opaque white version of their logo. All these features demand attention and serve as navigation. As mentioned earlier, the structure was part of a mall conveniently placed next to the parking lot and accessible from the inside. The exterior design sectioned the restaurant with its architectural and visual design, which was also intriguing all in itself. The facade of the building had an interesting array of influences that seemed to have no cohesion. You had the marbleized coloring with Roman columns, Victorian-era windows, with Baroque Rococo embellishments that carried throughout the rest of the exterior of the restaurant and furthermore into the interior. From the door handles to the light fixtures and also the exterior wall tiling in the mall entrance, but oddly I didn't notice them until I had to today. Together they seem to give you an idea that you are heading into a fancy restaurant surprisingly called the Cheesecake Factory. The interior carried the same Victorian Baroque motifs but added Egyptian elements. I have now shifted my opinion of the restaurant to being eclectic and deceivingly elegant. I say deceivingly because fixtures and textures only seem to give an impression of the influence it was derived from. For example, textures and ornate designs were purely painted on. Flat paintings were given detail and dimension to imply that they were engraved or embossed. Although some elements seemed luxurious, other additions seemed like they were afterthoughts or shortcut to diminish design expenses. Egyptian symbols and motifs were added to the Victorian and Baroque styles of the exterior of the building. Fixtures and designs were a mixture of Egyptian columns with engraved palm leaves and amber lighting, Victorian chandeliers, lamps, decorative filigree etched in glass, and vibrant Rococo ceiling murals. The restaurant reminded me of Las Vegas. Although eclectic, the mixture of rich textures and colors worked oddly well together. It was hard not to form an opinion as a designer, because it felt like there was a lot of broken design rules as well as borderline tacky and gimmicky. But it was hard to say it wasn't intentional. The design to me seemed to reflect the menu: diverse, extravagant, seemingly luxurious, and colorful. The staff were all neatly and uniformly dressed. You had the hosts who were in all black business casual attire. The servers were all in white collared shirts and black slacks. The only differentiating item that was indicative of individual personality were their ties, obviously part of their uniform, but they had the liberty of choosing the design and style. The choice in uniform color and style tells me the company wants their staff to be clean and professional and subtle, that they are there to serve and be responsive to your dining experience and needs. The staff was friendly but not looming. I was quickly seated by the host and greeted by a server who immediately took my drink order. I did seem rushed by my server, and initially I thought she was being rude, but the longer I stayed, I assessed this was part of their business. Staff was direct, attentive, knowledgeable, and responsive. They made sure that the experience was about the food, and I felt they knew exactly how overwhelming it could get with all the choices. So, the staff experience shouldn't be a part of it. There were over 250 offerings. I was basically presented with a book, a Skinalicious menu, and a lunch menu, which says to me they had options based on how much you value your diet or your time in the restaurant. As a design, the menus were cohesive with the brand colors and motifs, and some of the motifs were even derived from the interior design of the restaurant itself. For example, the spirals were the same patterns on the seating tapestry, Same goes for the filigree inspired by the Baroque and Victorian fixtures that were even present on the utensils. There were over 250 offerings. I was basically presented with a book, a skinalicious menu, and a lunch menu, which says to me they had options based on how much you valued your diet or your time in the restaurant. As a design, the menus were cohesive with the brand colors and motifs, and some of the motifs were even derived from the interior design of the restaurant itself. The menu is undoubtedly overwhelming, and as I read, descriptions were direct and simple, nothing extra or unnecessary. The first page had a story on the origins and mission of the restaurant, as well as important food warnings. Pricing looks to accommodate a broad demographic range, being moderately priced for most items. Bread and butter were served as I went through the menu, which I assume was there to help with hunger or wait time during the serving and selection process. The menu was well organized by courses and designed with attention to hierarchy and ease on the eyes discerning information. Like the restaurant, there was no theming or cohesion in the labeling, which in this case may not be necessary. For example, there's a section featuring burgers called Glam Burgers, and like I mentioned earlier, a separate menu for skinny or healthier versions of their drinks and entrees called Skinnylicious. These labels seem to have been created without meaning. I could possibly be wrong, but the tone of voice in these labels seem to be out of place. I go from elegance to trendy and fun. Maybe glam is synonymous to elegance. Delivery of food items was quick and efficient. The courses and waiting time in between is obviously taken into consideration. For example, upon seating, I was given bread and butter and asked to start off with the drink. I ordered a passion fruit mojito and later on a whiskey smash. Shortly after ordering, I was brought my appetizer of crab and artichoke dip. Close to finishing my appetizer, I was brought my main dish, Louisiana chicken pasta. When I was done, I was asked if I had room for dessert, presented a menu, and after choosing, brought my choice of cheesecake. I did not feel like I was waiting too long or rushed too quick with my courses. For the capacity of the restaurant, service was quick and efficient. You can tell that the presentation of the courses reflects the consistent attributes of the brand, which so far have been eclectic, elegant, extravagant, and colorful. Portions were large and the items were well assembled and aesthetically pleasing. Appetizers, entrees, and desserts were presented on clean white ceramic plates. This accentuated the food and its colors even more. They also made the food enticing and appealing, and you can tell that they were made from expertise. This also leaves no room for imperfection since the food is the feature as it should be. Garnishes are properly placed, items are stacked and positioned if need be. The design of the food in its entirety looked intentional. This brought back the feeling of elegant dining. This also leaves no room for imperfection since the food is the feature as it should be. Garnishes are properly placed, items are stacked and positioned if need be. The design of the food in its entirety looked intentional. This brought back the feeling of elegant dining. The receipt is presented in a black check presenter with a logo embossed in gold, may be indicative of worth and luxury since it is a receipt. The presentation shows the company values you as a customer and your privacy. There was also a tip reminder in different languages which showed that they also value their employees. The fact that it is in different languages shows that they know their audience and their location being Florida, a big tourist destination. For cleanup, my plates were regularly checked on and cleared from the table once finished or requested. Again, this speaks to the efficiency of the brand and customer service. For items that were to be taken home, they were placed in a to-go container that had the Cheesecake Factory logo embossed on it. It was black and microwave safe, taking into consideration their market's lifestyle and the quality of their food even after dining. Upon leaving, I was thanked for my visit and my business. Overall, the Cheesecake Factory has been a good experience as a brand. The company does show value and commitment in the quality of their food as they boast an extensive menu. Design-wise, their brand is eclectic in nature, but that does not mean it's unfocused or not directed. Being eclectic can still be a brand as it constantly promotes diversity and variation, while cohesion can still be found in different aspects of the business and branding process. In this case, it's in the creative assets and presentation. Cohesion not only establishes trust, but also has the ability to persuade. In the case that is Cheesecake Factory, the brand was able to persuade its customers in affordable luxury dining by surrounding its customers with everything elegant, even pulling from different influences. Their goal was only to appeal to the common man's palate. Luxury to them was a feeling and not a currency. Their design aesthetic pulls from the fact that they are more than just cheesecake and focus their brand on the cumulative dining experience. The idea behind Cheesecake Factory is to evoke a sense of elegance and luxury without breaking the bank. The success of Cheesecake Factory for me is the fact that brand is the ability to persuade and establish a service or company as an identity. Thank you for watching, and feel free to visit my Behance page at www.behance.net/DanePaulAndress.